In this video, I'm going to show you how to do the provisional crochet cast on. I'm not going to go into detail on how to do it because I did that in my crochet cast on tutorial. So if you have not watched that yet or read that yet, please go back and do that before continuing with this video. So this is the provisional cast on, this orange row here on my scale gras. And to do that, you will do the crochet cast on, and you will cast on the exact number of stitches you need with the crochet cast on as you do for your project. So here for this video, I'm demonstrating with 20 stitches. So I have 20 stitches casted on here, and once you cast on your last stitch, do several chain stitches. I like to do 4 or 5. So these are not going around your knitting needle, they are just regular crochet chain stitches. So you just loop the yarn over the crochet hook and pull it through the stitch. Loop the yarn over the crochet hook, pull it through the stitch. So after you do 4 or 5 of those, just pull up a loop and cut it. And pull the yarn out. So now I have 20 stitches on my needle. Again, you'll do the exact number of stitches your cast on calls for, and I have this little chain here at the end. This chain at the end is important because it tells you when it's time to pull this out, you will start pulling it out at this end. And if this knot on the end gets really tight, you can actually cut into one of these last stitches to get a loose end and start pulling it out. So now to do the first row or round in your work, you're going to pick up your working yarn, and I am going to demonstrate this in the continental style. Most of my videos I show both styles, but we're just going to be doing the regular knit stitch, so hopefully you English style knitters can interpolate what that means, you know, in English style. I'm just doing regular knit stitches. So you're just going to start at the top and you're just going to knit one row. Knit every stitch. And notice I didn't tie my yarn, I just leave myself a nice long tail and knit that first stitch. And then continue just knitting down the row, knitting every stitch. And one of the nice things about the provisional cast on is you don't have to worry about whether or not it's sloppy, because you're going to be ripping it out in the end. It's not part of your final project. So this is what row or round 1 will look like on your scale gras. You're just knitting as if it's flat. We're not joining it in the round yet. Okay, I'm getting up to the end of the row. There we go, at the end of the row. So this is what it looks like. I've got those green stitches that are the crochet cast on, and the white stitches are my first row or my first round of the project. Now I'm going to divide these stitches in half to use the magic loop method of knitting them in the round, and there is a link in the lesson on how to do the magic loop method. Now it's really important at this stage that you make sure that your cast on is not twisted, and it's actually kind of handy to have a provisional cast on in a contrasting color yarn because it's easier to see whether or not your cast on is twisted. So I've got all of my green stitches in the center between the 2 needles there, and if I kind of lay them out like that, I can see that I don't have any green twisted around either of my needles. I bring them together, and you want the working yarn to be on the needle in your right hand, so I'm just gonna flip mine over so that my working yarn is on the needle that I'm holding with my right hand. Yeah, it is a lot of strings that kind of get in the way, so you just have to be patient with yourself and move them out of the way. Then for magic loop, I'm going to pull that needle out so that those stitches go down on the cord, and knit the first stitch on the other needle to join it in the round. So again, I'm doing this continental style, but it's just a regular knit stitch. So you English style knitters knit the way you normally do, just do a regular knit stitch. Then I like to pull my tail, because you see that big loop right there? If you pull the tail, it kind of pulls that loop down. Then continue knitting around. Now, if you have enough stitches and a short enough cord, you don't have to use the magic loop method. The join is the same whether you're knitting around like normal or using the magic loop method. Okay, and I get to the end of my first half of the round. I've split a yarn there. There we go. And this is very important. Anytime you're manipulating your work, you want to make sure that you've not twisted it, because when you're knitting in the round, it's real easy to twist your work even within the first 2 or 3 inches of your work. So always be checking to make sure that you didn't twist it. And again, it's a little bit easier because we're using this contrasting color yarn for a provisional cast on, to make sure it's not twisted around the needles anywhere. So now the second half of the round. Working yarn's coming off my right hand needle right there. Pull the stitches down onto the cord, and I continue knitting around. And you will knit the rest of the rounds in the same method. So once you join in the round, you just keep continuing to go around in the round. So I'm not going to knit more rounds. The first 2 rounds, you knit the first round flat. The second round is, beginning of the second round is where you join it to knit in the round. Then you just continue going round and round and round.